My name is Elise Navarro, and I'm 29 years old. In code, what you write is what runs. There's comfort in that. No mood, no subtext, no, maybe I misunderstood. I keep my life that way too. Version controlled, backed up, nothing borrowed if it risks coming back different. Which is why my 2019 silver Honda Accord, paid off early, waxed every other Sunday, felt less like a car and more like a contract with myself. Earn it, care for it, keep it. I've been with Daniel Reed for 3 years. We met at a board game night in 2022, where he argued passionately that the red player was cheating, and I argued passionately that he'd misread the rulebook. We kissed in the kitchen over lukewarm Thai leftovers. Portland makes room for that kind of story. Tuesday morning, sprint planning was dragging. Stand-ups had melted into sit-downs, and everyone's camera was mysteriously off. My phone buzzed on the desk, face up. Daniel, hey babe, I lent your Accord to Jessica. Her Subaru's in the shop and she needed to run errands. Hope that's cool. I stared at the screen until the words stopped meaning anything. Jessica Morrison is Daniel's friend from college. I've met her maybe 5 times. She laughs like she's apologizing. Scattered, late, larger than life in a way that sets off my internal lint roller. Daniel knows I'm particular about the car. He's teased me about it, kindly. You and that Honda, Elise. Do I need to book it on your calendar to say good morning? I typed back and deleted twice before landing on the least explosive line I had. Would have appreciated a heads up first. When is she bringing it back? No response. I finished the meeting, sent 2 PRs, ate a granola bar without tasting it, told myself this was not a crisis. It was a car on a Tuesday. I was an adult with coping skills. 3 hours later, the next text arrived. Daniel. So, don't freak out. Jessica said the car was stolen. She parked at the Riverside Target for 20 minutes and came back out and it was gone. She's filing a report right now. I'm so sorry. My stomach dropped like I'd stepped into an elevator shaft. I called him immediately, not caring that my mic might still be hot on Slack. Daniel, what happened? He coughed out a rush of syllables. I know. I should have asked. I just thought, it's just errands. Jess is quick. You were in meetings. And she... Where exactly did this happen? Target on Riverside, near the mall. And she filed a report? She's at the station right now giving a statement. They'll call you since the car's in your name. Elise, He exhaled, voice softening. Please don't be mad at me. I wasn't mad. Not yet. I was confused, and under the confusion, a thin, gray trail of smoke my brain couldn't locate. By 6, auto theft called. Officer Williams, conversational monotone, asked for VIN, plate, color, recent photos. I gave him the maintenance history without being asked. He told me to send the insurance the report number, to sit tight, that sometimes cars turned up, sometimes they didn't. That night, Daniel went theatrical domestic, chicken parmesan, garlic bread, candles we'd both sworn were for special occasions. He moved through the kitchen like penance was a choreography. I'll cover the deductible, he said, setting the plates down. All of it, whatever it is. It's not the money, I said. It's that you lent out something you don't own. He flinched. Jess was desperate. It's my fault, I know. I wasn't thinking. We ate in a politeness that felt like fabric stretched too tight over a chair. He reached for my hand. I swear it'll never happen again. I don't want this to be who we are, I said. 2 people who have to set alarms to remember basic respect. He tried a smile. We're not those people. This was a one-off. I'll talk to Jess. She feels terrible. Somewhere between the parmesan and the apology, he added, almost as an afterthought. And just so it doesn't get weird if the cops poke around, if they mention Tessa, that's my ex from college. We don't talk. Haven't in years. I hadn't said her name. I hadn't been thinking about her. The smoke coiled a little darker. At 11:40 p.m., after he fell asleep on the couch with the TV murmuring a crime documentary at him like a lullaby, I opened my laptop and filed the insurance claim. Describe any personal items in the vehicle, I typed. Gym bag, back seat. Umbrella, front passenger footwell. Trunk empty. I hesitated, then underlined it in my head. Trunk empty. I closed the claim and turned off the screen. The apartment hummed. The dishwasher clicked. Outside, rain needled the windows in a rhythm I'd known since childhood. Nothing looked different. The world is rude like that when it's about to tilt. I lay in bed listening to Daniel breathe. In the dark, I tried the sentence I didn't want to own. Something about this is wrong. It sounded like a superstition. It felt like the only honest thing in the room. At 8:03 the next morning, my phone lit up with a new number. Ms. Navarro, Detective Rodriguez, auto theft. We located your vehicle. Relief hit like heat. Oh my God, where? He paused, the kind of pause that sets the floor a few inches lower. Parked on Maple Drive, he said. Outside 2847. Does Tessa Chen mean anything to you? I swallowed. She's my boyfriend's ex. We'll need you to come in, he said gently. There's a complication with the vehicle. What kind of complication? It's better if we discuss it in person. The call ended. The apartment, the rain, the brushed steel kettle on the stove. All of it kept behaving like this was a normal morning. I stood very still, as if motion might break something I could never fix. Detective Rodriguez's office looked like every procedural drama I'd ever seen. Coffee stains on folders, fluorescent light too bright for the hour, a faint hum from an old air conditioner trying its best. But none of that prepared me for the photograph he slid across the table. It was my car. My silver Accord, parked neatly at a curb I didn't recognize. And the trunk, open wide like a wound, was filled with things that didn't belong to me. Brand new laptops still in boxes, jewelry boxes cracked open, gold catching flash glare, designer handbags with security tags still dangling. A cluster of credit cards bound together with a rubber band, like props from a movie about other people's crimes. Ms. Navarro, the detective said, this is roughly $15,000 worth of stolen property. Multiple burglary victims have already confirmed serial numbers and receipts. We'd like to understand how it got into your vehicle. My throat felt sandpapered. I don't understand, I said. I filed the report. It was stolen 2 days ago. I haven't even seen that stuff before. He nodded, jotting notes, his pen whispering across paper. The car was found outside 2847 Maple Drive, registered to a Tessa Chen. You know her? I swallowed hard. She's my boyfriend's ex, from college. They dated before we met. His eyebrow lifted. And you're certain you've had no contact with her? None. He leaned back slightly, studying me. We'll need your boyfriend's full name and contact information, and also this Jessica Morrison, the one who last had possession of the car. I typed their numbers into his phone with fingers that wouldn't stop shaking. Daniel Reed, Jessica Morrison. I have their addresses too. He took the information, closing the notebook. We'll verify their statements and check your alibi for the theft dates. We're not accusing you of anything, Ms. Navarro, but we have to understand the timeline. If it's any consolation, you're not the first person whose property has been used this way. That's not a consolation, I said quietly. He almost smiled. Fair enough. Outside, the rain had stopped. The sky looked polished and cruel. I called Daniel before I even reached the parking lot. They found the car, I said, my voice trembling. That's great, he said immediately. See, I told you it would. It was parked outside Tessa's house. Silence. Daniel, I said, why was my car at your ex's house? He laughed, the sound too loud, too quick. Wait, what? Tessa, that's insane. I haven't talked to her in years. You know that. Then explain it to me, because the police are holding my car as evidence. The trunk was full of stolen property. What? Electronics, jewelry, credit cards. They think whoever took it was using it for burglary runs. He cursed under his breath. That's impossible. Jess must have given it to someone else, maybe one of her friends. I'll call her. I'll fix this. You'll fix it, I repeated, the words jagged. Daniel, do you hear yourself? You lent my car without permission, and now it's evidence in a criminal case. You can't just fix that with a phone call. I made a mistake, Elise, I know, but I promise you, I didn't know anything about this. The detective's words echoed in my head. We'll check your alibi for the theft dates. Did you, I said slowly, have any contact with Tessa recently? Any at all? No, he said quickly. Too quickly. I mean, she commented once on an old photo, but that was months ago. Totally harmless. You're seriously asking if I'm part of some crime ring now? I'm asking if you're lying to me. He went silent. I'll call you after I talk to the detective, I said, and hung up before he could answer. At home, the apartment felt unfamiliar, like I'd walked into a replica of my life built by someone else. Daniel was sitting at the kitchen counter, laptop open, his fingers drumming against the keyboard. He looked up as I dropped my bag. You told them about me, right? Of course I did. Why wouldn't I? He sighed. Because you sounded like you didn't trust me on the phone. I'm standing in a room with you, and I still don't, I said. Elise, he said, hands spreading in a gesture I used to find endearing. Please, think about this logically. Jessica said it was stolen. Derek, That's Tessa's husband now, right? Maybe he's involved. Maybe he used it and parked it there to frame her. There are 100 explanations. Then give me one that doesn't sound like fiction. He looked away. I can't until I talk to Jessica. Detective Rodriguez called again that evening. Ms. Navarro, thank you for your cooperation. We've spoken to Ms. Morrison. She confirmed she was the last person with the car. What did she say? That she lent it to someone else, a man named Derek Chen, coincidentally the same surname as your boyfriend's ex. She claimed she thought he was helping a friend move furniture. Did she mention why she'd hand over a car that wasn't hers to begin with? She said Daniel told her it was fine, the detective said. He supposedly said you wouldn't mind. My chest tightened. That's not true. I assumed as much. We're verifying his statement tomorrow. He hesitated, voice softening. Ms. Navarro, I don't know your situation, but from experience, I'll say this. People lie for strange reasons when they're scared. If anyone in your circle pressures you to change your story, you call me, day or night. I promised I would. When I hung up, Daniel was watching me from the doorway. What did they say? That Jessica admitted giving the car to someone else. He nodded, too calm. Good. Then it's not on us anymore. It is on us, I said. She told them you said it was fine. His smile faltered. That's ridiculous. I never... She used your name, Daniel. His jaw worked, words fighting to form. I might have said, look, when she called, she said it was an emergency, okay? I told her you're protective but not impossible. I thought you'd be fine with it. I didn't know she'd hand it off again. I stared at him, trying to line up the man who made me pancakes on Sundays with the man who could put me in a police file by accident. She used your permission, I said finally, and now my name's in evidence. He rubbed his temples. We'll get through this, Elise. I'll talk to the cops. No, I said quietly. You'll say nothing unless they ask, and you'll stop talking to Jessica. He blinked. You think she's lying? I think someone is. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying every moment leading up to the theft. The trust, the way he'd laughed when I got nervous about small things, his careless confidence that people meant well. The line I'd underlined in the insurance form, trunk empty, looped in my head like a mantra that had turned into a curse. At 2:11 a.m., Daniel's phone lit up on the nightstand. I didn't mean to look. The name on the screen wasn't Jessica's. It was Tessa. The preview line read, "Call me when she's asleep." I stared at it until the screen went dark. The smoke in my chest caught fire. By sunrise, I'd stopped pretending to sleep. Daniel's phone lay face down on the nightstand, still and silent, as if it hadn't just set fire to the air between us. I sat at the kitchen counter, staring at the light slanting through the blinds and replaying that message. Call me when she's asleep. Not we need to talk. Not it's urgent. Just quiet coordination, like this wasn't the first time. At 7:42 a.m., Detective Rodriguez called again. Ms. Navarro, just a quick update before we proceed to interviews. Jessica Morrison recanted part of her statement. Recanted? I asked. She admitted the theft story was fabricated. She says she gave your vehicle to a man she was seeing, Derek Chen. We have reason to believe he's related to Tessa Chen, the address where the vehicle was recovered. I gripped the counter until my knuckles blanched. Derek is Tessa's brother, I said flatly. Yes, the detective confirmed. Ms. Morrison claims she didn't know the car was being used in thefts. We executed a warrant at Mr. Chen's residence last night, found additional stolen merchandise in his garage, same types as in your trunk. Ms. Morrison's cooperating for reduced charges. And Daniel? We'll be calling him in today. We have to verify how his name entered Ms. Morrison's statements. After the call, I stared at my reflection in the microwave door, my own face ghosted behind the digital clock. I looked calm. I didn't feel calm. When Daniel finally emerged, hair damp, face freshly shaved, like he was going to fix the world with charm, I didn't bother with greetings. I saw your phone last night, I said. Tessa texted you. He froze halfway to the coffee machine. Elise, I can explain. Then explain. She called me once after the car thing started, just to ask if we were okay. You know, because she felt bad that it happened near her neighborhood. Her neighborhood? It happened at her address. She didn't stumble across it on a jog. He ran a hand through his hair, pacing. Okay, yes. She texted again. She was just checking in, seeing if we knew more. That's all. Then why did she text, call me when she's asleep? He froze. The color drained from his face. You read that? I saw it. You left it in plain sight. Elise, you're not supposed to... I check my own safety? I snapped. Do you even understand what kind of mess you've made? He dropped into a chair, the mask finally slipping. It's not what you think. Tessa and I... Look, she was the one who introduced Jessica to Derek. That's all. She wanted to make sure I wasn't mad at her for, the connection. The connection, I repeated. You mean the fact that my stolen car ended up in her driveway? He rubbed his eyes, defeated. I didn't know they were still talking. Jess said it was a one-time thing, helping Derek move some boxes. I swear I didn't think. That's the problem, Daniel, I cut in. You never think. You just decide. That afternoon, Detective Rodriguez called again. Ms. Navarro, Mr. Reed came in for questioning. He admitted that Ms. Morrison called him before borrowing the vehicle. He told her, and I quote, "Elise won't mind if it's quick." That technically makes him complicit in the unauthorized use. My pulse thrummed in my ears. Complicit, I repeated. For context, the detective said carefully, you're not in legal danger. You're classified as the primary victim, but I'd recommend separating your finances from Mr. Reed immediately. We'll handle the rest. Understood, I said. My voice sounded like someone else's. When Daniel came home, I didn't wait for excuses. His eyes searched mine like he still expected forgiveness to be a setting I could switch back on. They called you, he guessed. They did. He opened his mouth, closed it again. So what happens now? What happens, I said, is that you move out. Elise, I don't want to hear it. You lent my car without asking, you lied about who was involved, and you text your ex while I'm sleeping. That's 3 separate betrayals, Daniel. I'm not running a loyalty program. He laughed weakly, as if humor could glue the cracks. You're being dramatic. You're angry. You'll calm down. No, I said, steady now. You will. Somewhere else. His face twisted. Guilt, disbelief, pride, all fighting for space. I was trying to help. Jessica was desperate. Tessa felt bad. I was stuck in the middle. I didn't want anyone to think I was controlling. And you thought the solution was to let everyone walk over me instead. He dropped his gaze. I never meant to hurt you. That's the line people use when they already did, I said softly. For 2 days, he texted nonstop. Please, Elise, you're all I have. Don't let one mistake erase everything. I didn't answer. I didn't block him either. I wanted him to see what silence looked like when it wasn't forgiveness. Saturday morning, my phone buzzed again. Rodriguez. Update, he said. Derek Chen confessed. Full cooperation deal. He was stealing high-end goods and using borrowed vehicles to move them between drop sites. He named Jessica as his accomplice for the first few runs and admitted Tessa knew about the car but not the thefts. And Daniel? I asked quietly. He's clear of the crimes, but his statements confirmed he knowingly misled you about permission. I'd consider that a personal matter, not legal. Personal, I echoed. That's one word for it. He hesitated, then said, You should be proud, Ms. Navarro. You handled this calmly. Most people fall apart. I almost laughed. I think I did, just quietly. Sunday afternoon, Daniel showed up at the door with a small suitcase. Don't, I said before he could speak. I just came to get my things. I stepped aside, arms crossed. He moved through the apartment like a tourist visiting his old life, touching the counter, glancing at the photo of us in Seattle, eyes softening at the couch we'd picked out together. When he finally turned to face me, his voice was small. You really won't give me a chance to fix this? You already fixed it, I said, the moment you showed me who you really are. He nodded slowly, lips pressed together. I'll send you the rest of the rent I owe. I already covered it. He lingered in the doorway for a second longer, searching my face for something he could still reach. Finding nothing, he left. The door clicked shut like punctuation. Later that night, I sat in the driver's seat of my returned Accord. The detective had called to say it was cleared for pickup. The seat still smelled like the chemical tang of evidence tape, but it was mine again. I opened the trunk, staring into the hollow space where the stolen goods had been. Empty. Silent. For the first time in weeks, that word didn't sound like loss. The car keys felt heavier than I remembered. They always do after something's been taken and returned. Like they now carry a story you didn't agree to live. When I slid into the driver's seat, the plastic still crinkled under me from the post-evidence detailing. The detective had said, You can drive it home, Ms. Navarro. It's yours again. Yours again. The phrase sounded both comforting and cruel. I sat there for a long moment with the engine off, watching the reflection of the parking lot light ripple across the windshield. The air smelled like lemon disinfectant. It didn't feel like my car. It felt like a stranger I used to trust. Over the next few weeks, the story finished itself without me. Derek Chen took a plea deal. 3 years for burglary, restitution to 6 victims. Jessica Morrison pled guilty to being an accessory and got probation. And Tessa Chen quietly moved out of Portland after cooperating with the DA's office. The news headline read, Serial Burglar. Caught after girlfriend's car, found full of stolen goods. They never mentioned my name, but friends and coworkers connected the dots. You'd be amazed how quickly pity replaces curiosity once they realize you're not the villain. People said things like, "At least you caught it early," and "It could have been worse." They weren't wrong. They were just missing the point. Daniel and I spoke one last time, if you could call it that. It was over text. His number came through with a bubble of fake sincerity. "Daniel, I just wanted to say I'm sorry again. I never meant to hurt you. Me. You didn't mean to. You just didn't stop yourself when you could. Daniel, I hope one day you'll forgive me. Me. I already did. That's how I know I'm done." Then I blocked his number. Closure isn't always a conversation. Sometimes it's a silence that stays. My car insurance finally reimbursed the costs. $12,200 for the damages, $340 for the tow, $180 for the cleaning I'd insisted on paying twice because I couldn't stand the scent of crime lab powder. I used part of the money to replace the air freshener, part to buy a dash cam, and part to take 2 days off work without guilt. The first morning of those days, I drove to the coast. No destination, no playlist, just the sound of tires on wet asphalt. Somewhere near Cannon Beach, I pulled over and watched the tide roll in. The sea moved the way life does after betrayal, indifferent, repetitive, and eventually cleansing. It's strange what stays with you. For me, it wasn't the car. It wasn't even Daniel. It was the way trust collapsed quietly. No explosion, no breaking glass, just a slow leak until I realized the tank was empty. I kept replaying how small the first mistake had been. A borrowed favor, a quick errand, a harmless assumption, and how it turned into police reports, depositions, and the sound of my own heart doubting itself. 2 months later, the apartment was fully mine again. His side of the closet empty, his coffee mug gone. The silence no longer felt like punishment. It felt like a luxury I could afford. One Saturday, while cleaning out an old drawer, I found the spare car key, the one Daniel used to carry. I turned it over in my hand, metal glinting under the light. For a moment, I almost tossed it into the trash. Then I stopped. Instead, I walked it out to the car, opened the trunk, and dropped it inside an empty box labeled Lessons. I taped the box shut. When friends asked how I was doing, I started telling the truth. I'm okay, just recalibrating. Because that's what it felt like. Not healing, but recalibrating. I'd learned to read new warning signs. The pause before a lie. The over-apology that means guilt. The phrase, "I'll handle it," said a little too fast. And one more. If someone borrows your trust without permission, they'll spend it recklessly every time. Last week, Detective Rodriguez sent a short follow-up email. "Case closed. You've been formally cleared and reimbursed. If you'd like, you can request the full report for personal records." I didn't request it. I didn't need to reread my own story. Instead, I took the car for a drive through the city. The same streets that once made me feel cornered now felt open again. I parked by the river, rolled down the windows, and let the night air in. Somewhere nearby, a couple was arguing softly about directions. Somewhere else, a bus hissed to a stop. Life kept moving, like it hadn't noticed my detour. When I got home, I wrote something in the Notes app. Just for me, not for insurance or detectives or closure. Things I know now. Love doesn't mean permission. Trust needs maintenance, not magic. If someone calls you overprotective, it usually means you're right. Never lend your car or your peace to people who don't pay attention to consequences. I stared at the screen, then added a fifth line. Some lessons only drive home when you've lost the keys. I hit save, turned off the lights, and finally, quietly, felt free.